and welcome back to Paracast. Today we're going to talk about something that you might know about and something that you might not know about. It all depends how good you are when it comes to the paranormal. And it is about The Conjuring. I think you've all seen that. I know Kaz has. But it centres around two people, a man and wife team, and they are demonologists. Do you know who they are? You do, don't you?
The Warrens.
The Warrens started off as nobodies, and then all of a sudden there was more reports of, I would say, what would you say, Kaz, like possessions?
Possessions, disturbances.
Yeah. Dave, the Warrens would park outside people's houses and they would say, that house is haunted. And he would draw. And she would take him to the house, wouldn't she? And she would say, oh, my husband's done you a picture, just to get the feel of what is lurking behind that door. What's your take, Kaz, on The Conjuring itself? Because you have you can stem it from the films, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what is it now? The fourth one coming out, or is it the fifth?
No, the fourth one.
The
I can't
fourth
wait
one.
to see it.
The Last Rites or something?
No, that was the third one, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I've seen that many.
I know the fourth one's coming out, but I forget the name of the fourth one. But I think The Last Rites is number 3.
Is it?
Yeah, with the little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got we've got the fourth one coming out, and I think it was the second one about the Enfield, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Enfield Ghost.
Yeah,
if you don't know what the Enfield Ghost is, you can actually go onto YouTube and look at the documentary and just type in where
Enfield Hauntings.
Yeah, and it's about a family that lived I would say they were in a really bad predicament. The husband left and she was left with 3 kids, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And it started where she would, well, she'd fly, she'd go about in the room, wouldn't she, like flying and that, like as if something was dragging her.
Yeah.
What would you say that was then?
Well, there's a lot of discussions about that one, if I'm honest with you, and there was a lot of discrepancies.
Oh, discrepancies.
Yeah, that's it. I can't speak. But it they also had like a scientist, like a man that and he was absolutely besotted. He was kind of like really wanted, because apparently in the film, in the original film, I think Timothy Spall had played.
Yeah, that was the Sky. That was the Sky production, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had lost his daughter, so he was quite obsessed in the paranormal.
Yeah.
So you've got him, and you've got the Warrens, and then you've got like somebody who doesn't believe, skeptic. That's it. The skeptic who will do anything to, say, oh, it's this, and find reasons for it.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, wasn't it? It was in the film with the Warrens where she faked part of it.
Yeah.
Because she was desperate for them to catch it, so she made a silly mistake and faked it. But in what I do, I've never, ever, touch wood, seen anybody fly in the air or levitate or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because it took a lot of energy like that, and it's I can't imagine it happening.
Well, I watched the film and I was that intrigued by it, I started to think about watching the documentary, and there is a documentary on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know what channel it was on. I think it was on Channel 4.
She was called Janet, wasn't she?
Yeah, Janet they called her, yeah. And there was a woman who supposedly witnessed Janet floating in the air, and she was actually watching Janet do this across the window. I find that a little bit, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I do find that a little bit strange, because like Carrie Ann turned around and said, it takes a lot of energy for something to get you to force you to do that. Maybe she was jumping up and down on the bed at that time. We don't know. It's never been proven that Janet levitated. But what I do want to point out is there was a policewoman, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And she said that there was things happening in there in that house that even she couldn't
explain.
Yeah, she couldn't explain it, could she? I'm going to go back to the first one where they're in America, and it's about the family who move in that farmhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
They turn around and say, don't they? They say there was soldiers buried in the walls.
Yeah.
Now I can't pinpoint whereabouts in the movie that was, but I do recall it. But it shows you them in the bedroom, and she gets a bit frightened, and she says to her sister, "Can you not see it? It's in the corner of the room." Do you remember?
Is that the wardrobe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, like the demon is on top of the wardrobe. What would you describe that as, Kaz? What would you say it was, and what would you say it was after?
I swear, do you know, I can relate to that, because when I was a child, I could see something, and it was me and my dad's wardrobe.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people will see faces in patterns. Now, what's that called?
Pareidolia.
Yeah. Yeah. There's explanations for that, and yes, patterns can mess with your eyes.
Yeah.
But then, what about when you start seeing something that's standing out, and then you start not only just seeing something, but you actually start feeling something?
Yeah.
And it's not just fear because you're fearing the unknown. It could be an emotion, like you could feel anger, or you could feel afraid, or you could feel sick. And that's what you got to think about. That's when you put the two together and you know something's not right.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I have seen things like that before. But getting back to the film, yes, I do believe that was real. I do believe that that is a massive, massive possibility. Like I said, on all the times I've been doing that, has only been maybe four or 5 occasions that I've dealt something demonic. I'd rather not deal with it, but I will.
Yeah.
The rest has just been, investigations, I've passed people over, house clearances, things like that. But yeah, I believe that.
In the film, I mean, we're always going to refer to the film because it's the only visual aspect that we can see. In the film, Kaz, you see Lorraine Warren go up the stairs, and I think it's at the beginning of the film, and it's an introduction of how she goes about it.
That's when they went to the Amityville.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. The beginning of the film is where it shows you the time that they went to that Amityville house.
So we're going to talk about 2 films now. That demon, because it refers to it, doesn't it? Because they are in parts that they're all linked, and it's always with the Warren, Lorraine Warren. She's like Carrie-Anne. She's a medium. She always went back, didn't she, to that same demon? It was like, yeah, there could have been others, but it was always centered on that other that demon. It's like apparently it's that strong. It's quite easily they could quite easily possess you. This certain demon. Do you know what that demon's called?
Because Vel.
I know. I can't.
Valak.
Valak. It always goes back to Valak.
Yeah.
And see, I've done a little bit of demonology over the last couple of months, if not a year. Valak doesn't get mentioned as much, and they say the worst demon is obviously the devil, because that's where it stems from. But I won't say the names, but there's demons, and it goes from the worst top 10 demons, right? And I've not heard one of them. I've heard of Zozo, Valak, and they're the two. They seem to be the 2 main demons. But if you go back to the Latin era, Zozo is actually the devil. it's a devil. Do you know what I mean? They don't say it's a demon or it's a devil. Now, they are totally different, but they're there for the same reason.
Yeah. Devils are different from demons. Demons, fallen angels. Devils are like the drones for the
Yeah,
demons,
yeah,
aren't they?
yeah. I'd say the hunters aren't they?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the go. I mean that Janet in the Enfield Poltergeist. She she comes across when you see her on the telly and that she comes across very timid and do you know what I mean? And she actually does admit to one part of that story that she did make up, and it was just so, like you said earlier, just so that they could end what was happening. Reporters seeing and feeling things, right? Like the Lego brick flying across the room and hit him on the forehead.
Oh, aye.
That is quite plausible. But a body lifting, say, somebody coming to carry on and lifting her, do you know what I mean? I find that a bit too hard to believe.
I find it too hard, and simply because I'll believe what I see.
Yeah,
I've got to experience things for me to believe, because it's fair enough, you've got, that's the only way how you believe. What you believe is how you learn. If you witness it for yourself.
Yeah. I've actually seen things that I could never explain. I've gone through turmoil. To cut a long story short, I've had dealings with death, and I've actually gone and seen a priest about it because I was actually tormented by what had happened. But I won't go into what.
Yeah,
what
you mentioned that on the last one about the coins, wasn't it?
Yeah, about the coins. Yeah. So just go back to the last episode, and you'll figure it out. And the priest actually turned round and said it could be a case of taking them coins back, like I said last time, and I couldn't because the coins had disappeared. I do have, when I think back about it, I do have that inkling to think maybe it's yourself. But when it comes to hauntings, I do find it intriguing because things do happen. And me and Kaz go ghost hunting, and we've seen things, haven't we? And it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. And we've heard things. And when you start putting things, two and you start putting one with the other, and it stems off. But when it comes to The Conjuring, there's too much happened, hasn't there?
Yeah. You see, I've watched that many films that have kind of like been true to life, of real stories, real tales and things. And it always happens. Well, see, I mean, I've mentioned before, I live in an old Victorian house, and that the older the building, the older the place is, it's got history, the more energy and memories it's holding. And when they're living, they have problems. You develop turmoils and tragedies, and it sticks to that same thing, and it follows and carries on and replays and replays.
Yeah.
And that's what a true ghost is. It's like a replaying of an event.
Would you say it was like an echo?
Yeah, like an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's on repeat.
And it's on repeat.
Yeah.
That's what the true meaning of ghost. However, spirit is a soul, so soul of spirit. And it depends, whether whatever's happened and it also adds to it that, say, the living comes in and move in, whatever problems they might have any type of problem to mental health as well. Now, I know a lot of people like to blame a lot of it on mental health. No. It's no. You become you could come more of a target simply because if there's anything there, not knowing of what's going on can trigger your mind to start tripping and things like that. But you can't blame everything on that because it exists.
Would you say it was like you could tell the difference between somebody who's actually schizophrenic
Yes.
to somebody who's of sound mind. I'm not saying schizophrenics aren't right in the head, because I'm not. They do have an illness, and they can see things and hear things that aren't there, and that's what schizophrenia is all about. But you can actually read up about schizophrenics thinking that they've been possessed, but when it gets into investigation, it's not that at all. They are actually experience. To them, it's real. But when we talk about ghosts and demons, you just have to read up on the facts. I mean, they go back thousands of years. They're in old scriptures and things like that, aren't they? And to me, if you're not of sound mind, say if you're suffering from mental, anxiety, things like that, I do believe that the demon can actually play and feed off that.
It can.
Do you?
Yeah.
So when it comes to demons, have you ever experienced firsthand?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about a certain? Because you've obviously done it a few times, have you?
Yeah. I remember I felt I was moving up on my life path of studying a lot more advanced in what I'm doing now. And I was actually learning and have to learn and understand about demonology because of the things that I've dealt with. And I needed to kind of like really understand. And I'll never forget the time I was in at home and I was studying, and me and my husband, who actually does draw spirit while I'm working, we were in the bedroom and I was reading up on something, and then after that, I felt that everything just went silent. The clock stopped ticking. Any normal sounds just fell dead. And then all of a sudden, I remember I felt disconnected.
Yeah. So would you say that was like an out of body experience?
No, it was very much different to that. I felt disconnected of myself. I felt disconnected of I can't explain it, of
So
energies.
would you say
and
you
stuff.
were shut down?
I felt, yeah. And I remember feeling quite lost and panicky. And I always remember I got a flash and a feeling, and my mind's eye projected the picture of the Warrens, and I heard a voice saying, "This is what you would have to deal with if anything you were to work, and study demonology. This is what it feels like: an emptiness, disconnected, no connections to, spirit or an energy. You feel lost and you feel alone, and I mean a proper alone." Now, for people who say, they don't feel angels or loved ones beside them, or they don't believe in God, we are connected to everything. We're connected to the earth, the air, everything, and you feel connected. But that weird feeling I experienced, there was just nothingness, and it scared me.
Yeah.
And then everything came back to normal, and I got a taste of the feeling of being disconnected and then being connected again. And I felt that was like a bit of a lesson for me to recognise the difference.
So would you say when you come back round, it was like a massive relief?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Now, astral travelling or being out of your body, I felt, it's like a dream, but you can still feel yourself, but you kind of like looking at yourself.
Yeah.
Now
so it's similar to an out of body experience, but it's not.
Yeah.
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 When it comes to, is there any aspect of, say you get like well, he's an example. You've got Lorraine Warren walking about, doesn't matter where it is, right? But she's walking in a haunted house, and you can see the terror in her eyes, and how she just totally transforms into someone else. It's like she knows what's coming, but she's not prepared for it. Would you say you've ever done that?
Oh yeah, there's a name for that. See, if you remember, she's actually sat at the table, isn't she?
Yeah.
So what she does is, and this is what I've done, and what I still do now quite a bit, if I have to, is that you just go down into meditation, and you get the knack of, and it's called remote viewing as well.
Yeah.
So it's like as if your soul moves out of your body, but your body is still very much aware of what's going on, but you are actually, your body's sat there, but your inner self, as I would call it, for people to understand, is actually walking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what she's doing is remote viewing, but she's out of the body, walking around.
So it's a bit like astral projection type of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And I've done that many a times when I've had to, I've walked around and I've gone into someone's house. I've done it by telephone call. Not as deep in that, because obviously I'm talking to somebody, but I'm able to remote view inside their home and describe to them what a room would look like. And then I would actually see a spirit there and tell them what I've seen.
Have you had anyone be absolutely dumbfounded and shocked at what you're saying?
Yes, a lot of them. Yeah.
Because when I used to do something for a certain medium, he did say that was one of the worst experiences you could do, is go into an astral level, and you sort of like, you're not expecting this certain thing to happen, but when it does happen, it's absolutely horrendous. Have you ever had that?
I've always been in control. I've always done it free willingly. It's not kind of like, I've not actually, suddenly it's just come out of me and I've wandered,
Yeah.
I'm actually quite well in control in what I'm doing. But if there's a film, isn't there? What's the word? What's them horror films then called?
Sinister.
Not Sinister.
No.
Oh God. Oh my, he's gone blank. I'll have to shout. There's quite a few episodes, isn't there?
Insidious.
That's it. I knew
Yeah.
I knew it had an S
and I'm
in
going
it.
Sinister.
Sinister.
No, that's a word.
Yeah.
Insidious.
Insidious. Now, the little boy who is poorly, he has the accident, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And you see, because he's had the accident, they always say something triggers that part of your brain that enables you to do that sort of thing. So he's in a deep sleep, and while he's sleeping, he comes out of his body, doesn't he? He starts walking. Now that is dangerous, because he can't help that, and it's happening.
Yeah.
And he's got no control. So when that happens, and you're not in control, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, you can actually die from it, can't you?
You can. They say you can, yes.
Yeah.
Because your spirit's out. You're then in between two worlds, amongst all other spirits and wandering souls and what have you, who can see you.
Yeah.
And they want to bury you, and they want your body, because they want the craving to live again and feel the earth and all the material side of things of life. And it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
And this is when I teach my students as well, that from the very start of your learning, you must learn protection, and you must learn to be in control.
Yeah. We'll look at that. We only do this in 30 minutes increments, because obviously it's time consuming, but to me it goes too quick. What me and Carrie Ann are going to start doing is we're going to go ghost hunting. We're going to start, we're just, it's in its infancy, And we are going to start, aren't we?
We're going to
start
go
going,
exploring and
Yeah.
investigating, and you know, we've
and
got
we're
the
gonna,
equipment.
yeah,
and-
we're going to video it and everything. But apart from that, we're going to keep this going. Obviously, I'm going to buy bigger equipment so we can film, because this is only on there 2.3 megapixel. I'm going to actually invest in a proper video camera and some sound equipment, because the thing I've got there, to me, it's not doing what I want it to do. It's doing the job, it's just not big enough. But yeah, we're gonna start having more topics. And if there's anything you want to talk about, or you want me and Carrie Ann to talk about, just let us know in the comments. And apart from that, please like and subscribe so we can do more and more and more.
Ask questions and tell us who you are. You know, just give us a name, even if you want to make a name up, and just say, "Hey, it's me," and ask a question, and we'll try and answer it the best we can.
Yeah.
You know, but we're hopefully wanting to go live in investigations.
We're gonna start going. So it's legit. So you know it's legit. But yeah, I mean, like I say, we're in the infancy of doing this podcast, and we just like to thank you for watching us. And like we said, and like Carrie Ann said, if there's any comments coming up, we will read them, and we will take it heed. And what you're going to say?
And if you've got any ideas as well, you know, do share. It'll be lovely.
So with that, we shall bid you all farewell. Until next time, bye.